Coach, the energy out there felt different. What changed for the team today?
It was the new game day scratchers from the California Lottery. Players everything. Those games sent the team's energy through the roof.
Are you saying it was the off-field play that made the difference on the field?
Hey, a little play makes your day, and today, it made the game. That's all for now.
Coach, one more question.
Play the new Los Angeles Chargers, San Francisco 49ers, and Los Angeles Rams Scratchers from the California Lottery. A little play can make your day. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to purchase, play, or claim.
When systems go down, when tickets pile up, and your best tech walks out the door, what does all that really cost you? At CBT Nuggets, we help IT teams stay sharp, confident, and certified with online training that's built for the real world. From cybersecurity to cloud, our expert-led courses help your team close skill gaps before they turn into business risks. Invest in your team. Go to cbtnuggets.com/solutions and unlock training that makes your team sharper and your systems stronger.
Support American-made tariff-free clothing with American Giant. They aren't affected by tariffs because their clothing products never left the U.S. Get 20% off your first order when you use promo code STAPLE20 at american-giant.com.
Ferguson of South's Finest Meats, the official sponsor of the Stingray Show, has a message for you.
Everything we do here is fresh and custom made, custom to order. You know, I tell people when they come in, if you don't see what you like, ask somebody. We've got the capability to process it, make it. If you want a different blend of hamburger meat, we'll do your brisket blend. We'll do your chuck blend. We'll do your sirloin blend. We do all that right here. We are a butcher shop. That's what we do. So please don't be afraid to ask if you don't see what you like. We can make you any size patty you want. We can make you any amount you want. People call me and say, well, how many patties come in the box? Well, ma'am, how many would you like in a box? You want 12, we'll put 12. You want 25, we'll put 25.
That's just one of the many things that South's Finest Meats has to offer, the official butcher shop of the Stingray Show. Hell State, as they say in Mississippi. The Bulldogs have a huge game with a top 15 team this weekend and the defending Big 12 champions as Arizona State invades Starkville. We are going to be breaking down the Mississippi State versus Arizona State matchup first with Steve Robertson, host of the Boneyard from Mississippi State, and then we're going to be joined by a beat writer from Arizona State to do a deep dive into the Bulldogs versus the Sun Devils this weekend in Starkville.
Hi, this is Tim Brando with a reminder. Those of you on Tide 100.9, look out. You're about to feel the buzz of Stingray.
This is Stephen Ray, a.k.a. Stingray, coming to you live from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
I'm Heath Hopkins. I'm here in DeSoto County, Mississippi, right outside of Memphis, Tennessee. Mark, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you feel that responsibility to pay it forward and give some kid a chance coming up in the ranks, kind of like Tony did for you?
Why do you think I'm talking to Stingray tonight?
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Hey, Stingray, here's the deal. When you get involved with Texas, it's like getting married to a stripper. and let me explain this. It looks good. It's kind of sexy on the surface. Yeah, but then you get the baggage, you get the drama, you get all that eventually comes with it. And that's what you get with Texas, and that's what the Big 12 learned.
And Heath, any thoughts on our show moving forward?
Hey, to everyone in Tuscaloosa listening here on Tide 100.9. With the Stingray Show, if you don't like it, you better learn to love it, because it's the best show going today, baby. Woo!
And with that, I want to welcome you inside the Thursday evening edition of the Stingray Show. And week number 2 of college football is upon us. And I found it very funny earlier this week when there was a viral video that went out of Arizona State and their staff ringing cowbells this week during practice. However, they were ringing the wrong cowbells, because I'm going to do a demonstration for you right now. This, of course, were the cowbells that they were ringing. Okay, those were the cowbells that they were ringing. Here are the cowbells that Mississippi State will be ringing on Saturday evening there in Starkville. That is a huge difference and a major boost for Mississippi State against Arizona State. And to break down this game even further, here is our good friend and host of The Boneyard and best-selling author, Mr. Steve Robertson. Steve, how are things with you? And wasn't it comical that they were ringing the wrong style cowbells out there at Arizona State?
You know, somebody asked me about that, and I actually wrote about it on the Arizona State message board. You can listen to Welcome to the Jungle in your car.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you're ready to sit front row at a Guns N' Roses concert. And that's kind of how I liken this. You know, it's like you think you know, you don't know, until there's 55,000 cowbells ringing on 3rd and 6 and you can't hear yourself think. But it's a different dynamic, and everybody does kind of silly things to get ready. But you know what's interesting? I had a former Mississippi State assistant that actually went to Auburn several years ago, and he said he learned a new perspective for the cowbells as an opponent. He goes, when you're a coach at Mississippi State, you just kind of learn to expect it. He said the problem they had is when the cowbell stopped. He said, it's like you hear it. Then, the center gets over the football and everybody stops. And he said they had some pre-snap penalties as a result of that, because all of a sudden you start thinking, okay, why did it get quiet? You start looking around, you get a false start, So I think that's an interesting dynamic too. But it's unique to Starkville. And it's always so interesting when we get these non-conference foes that come in and you see their preparations and practice before they get here. It's never enough.
Right. So, Steve, let's go on ahead and backtrack just a second and talk about Mississippi State's performance on the road last week against in-state foe Southern Miss. And the defense looked a lot better than they did all of last year. Talk about Mississippi State's defensive performance last week against Southern Miss.
Well, as far as conclusions you can draw from a first game, right? I mean, the first game is not an identity make for anybody. I guess if you're LSU, you feel really good about going to Clemson and winning that game, because that's something that'll be right all the way to the playoffs. But first game of a new era at Southern Miss, a lot of new faces, new schemes. They even had a new offensive lineman that just joined the team last week. I mean, there's a lot to it. So you can't draw too many conclusions. But what you can say is Mississippi State looks like an SEC defense from a physical standpoint. They really rallied to the football. I thought the secondary was really good. And, that's one of the things that I heard maybe the last week of camp. So, I think our corners are going to be better than people anticipate. And then you have 4 PBUs by corners in the first half of that ball game. And the one throw that was completed on Kelly Jones just required a perfect throw and an incredible catch by Chapman there. But, they're better. How much better? I think it's too early to say. I think you'll get a better idea of what this team is really going to be about after this week. You've got Jordan Tyson, who is an SEC receiver playing in the Big 12. And I tell people too, people are like, what are they going to do with Jordan Tyson? Man, in this league, we're going to see people of that caliber week in and week out. That's not disrespectful to him, but the reality of it is there's not a lot of non-conference, wide receivers or skill players that are going to be greater than what we see each week in the Southeastern Conference.
And Steve, if you would, go ahead and talk about the return play of Blake Shapen, who was injured the majority of last year. He came in and played a really good game with 26 of 33 for 1 touchdown and 272 yards of passing.
Well, and he also had a couple drops. Aiden Williams had one. I think Marcus Allen was the other that had one. He had a couple drops. So ball placement was good. I mean, he had the one mistake, obviously, on the interception. And you also got to give Michael Montgomery from Southern Miss a lot of credit for making that play. I mean, it's not just – it wasn't like he just threw it right to him. But the reality of it is I thought Blake was really good, very measured in what he did. There were a couple times he took off and scrambled. And I think he just needs to do that enough to keep defenses honest, right? I mean, I don't think you're going to have a lot of design runs for him. because of his health history, but also his size. But yeah, he can make all the throws, and he's really the ball handling thing. I think is something that people sometimes undervalue. He carries out his fakes exceptionally well. The play action pass to Seydou Traore. I mean, that the threat of the run gets those safeties to bite, and next thing you know, after a double move, Traore is wide open, and you almost wonder if he's too wide open, right? But yeah, I thought Blake did exceptionally well. And the main thing, you got to keep him upright. He got sacked 4 times last year against Arizona State. And I think the turning point in that ball game was on a third down play when there's nothing there and he tries to do too much and ends up fumbling a football, trying to avoid a sack. He's trying to throw it out of bounds, ends up being a scoop and score. And what do you know? State loses 30-23 in that ball game. So those are the kinds of things that get you beat. He just got to take what the defense gives him and not try to do too much.
So, Steve, we're up against our first break of the evening, and when we return, we are going to turn the page and talk exclusively about the Arizona State matchup that is Saturday night at Davis-Wade Stadium in a crucial game this season for Jeff Lebby and Mississippi State. That's on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Stingray Show. We will return with Steve Robertson right after this. Residents of Tuscaloosa, are you guys upsizing, downsizing, looking for college housing, or even relocating for your job right here to Tuscaloosa? If that's the case, then you need to contact Celeste Hagler, owner and operator of First Class Real Estate South Home Group right here in Tuscaloosa. She can help you with the buying, selling, and investment needs throughout the state of Alabama. You can contact Celeste at 205-861-5698. Reach out to Celeste again at 205-861-5698 and schedule a consultation to discuss your real estate goals and to live where you love in the state of Alabama. It's dinner time, West Alabama, and if you are craving fried catfish with tartar sauce on a grilled bun, or maybe even a fried chicken tender with Swiss cheese, grilled onions, and an avocado spread on French bread, that sandwich is called the Jose, then you need to check out the Coker Market, which is located at the four-way intersection just off County Road 140 in Coker, Alabama. Their hours of operation is Wednesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. until 7 p.m. Go by and check out the Coker Market off of County Road 140 there in Coker, Alabama for community goods and wonderful barbecue. For over 100 years, the Bank of Moundville has been a name clients can trust. The Bank of Moundville is more than just a bank. They're your neighbors, your friends, and your community partners. Their unique approach to financial education has always centered around families. They believe that financially strong homes today lay the foundation for a brighter futures for tomorrow's generation. You can call them today at 205-371-2227. Once again, that is 371-2227 to schedule an appointment to build your financial security. The Bank of Moundville is a member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Watch for an accident in the left lane west on McFarland at Midtown. We also have an accident just cleared south on Highway 69 at Patriot Parkway, and an accident north on Lurleen Wallace at University Boulevard. If you're traveling north on I-359 from the 2059 up to Stillman, it's a 10-minute drive. And we have long-term construction on Skyland from I-359 to Buttermilk Road. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Lisa Baque.
Coach, the energy out there felt different. What changed for the team today?
It was the new game day scratchers from the California Lottery. Players everything. Those games sent the team's energy through the roof.
Are you saying it was the off-field play that made the difference on the field?
Hey, a little play makes your day, and today, it made the game. That's all for now.
Coach, one more question.
Play the new Los Angeles Chargers, San Francisco 49ers, and Los Angeles Rams Scratchers from the California Lottery. A little play can make your day. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to purchase, play, or claim.
Hi, I'm Sherry from LifeSource Water. Did you know Bay Area cities add chemicals like chlorine and chloramine to disinfect the tap water, on top of contaminants they can't handle, like microplastics and forever chemicals? At LifeSource, we believe your water should support your family's health. Our whole house water system filters every drop that enters your home, delivering clean, healthy water to every tap, shower, and appliance. Family owned for 3 generations, we build every system, install it, and offer factory direct pricing. So end your water worries and upgrade to the essential home appliance you'll love using every day. Drink, bathe, cook, and live clean with LifeSource water. Now we are offering a double dip in savings. Free basic installation plus an extra $250 off. That's up to $1,200 in savings. Call our factory at 1-800-WATER-99 or visit LifeSourceWater.com. Hurry, offer ends September 30.
Warranty limitations apply.
Lowe's knows you've got a job to do, and we help get it done. With the MyLowe's Pro Rewards program, eligible members save more with volume discounts on qualifying orders through a quote of $2,000 or more. Join for free today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Offer can't be combined with any other discount, contract, and/or special pricing. Exclusions, more terms, and restrictions apply. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Roll Tide, the best sports talk, period. Your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back inside the Stingray Show. My first guest of the evening on the Mississippi State and Arizona State preview show is Steve Robertson, host of The Boneyard and best-selling author as well. And Steve, before the break, we were talking about Mississippi State's performance against Southern Miss. Now let's turn our attention to Arizona State. And from the Mississippi State side, what is the hype and the expectation of this week with the Arizona State Sun Devils coming into Starkville?
Well, I mean, yeah, you never want to say it's a make or break game this early in the year. Yeah. If State loses this game, the season isn't over. Yeah. But if you win this game, then all of a sudden you start thinking about the realistic possibilities of making a bowl game. You got Alcorn State next week, Northern Illinois the next week. You know, if you win this one, you could be 4-0 when Tennessee comes to town in a few weeks, and probably the hottest ticket Mississippi State's had probably in about 3 years. But the matchup is interesting to me. The running quarterback, the mobile quarterback, gives everybody trouble. Well, it really gave State a ton of trouble last year. And Sam Levitt is a dude. I tried to explain to some people last night at the coaches show. People say, hey, is that quarterback from Arizona State better than Southern Miss's quarterback? Yes, he is. And that's not a slight to Braylon Braxton. There's a reason some people are mentioning Levitt in conjunction with the Heisman Trophy. I don't think he's going to have the numbers to get there. But the reality of it is, if you go back and watch that Northern Arizona game, he kind of took them on and put them on his own shoulders. Right. They got out to a 14-0 lead, and then all of a sudden things got a little bit discombobulated. They had 3 straight 3-and-outs in the second quarter. Third quarter, it's a 3rd and 4. Things are breaking down. Levitt takes off and runs 52 yards for a touchdown. And you got to think everybody in the secondary has the angle, but he still outruns everybody. That's what I worry about with him, is Mississippi State could do everything right for 3 or 4 seconds defensively, and then all of a sudden the field vacates and he just decides to tuck and go. That's the real weapon. You've got to make him be a quarterback and not just be an athlete, because he is a very skilled athlete. But defensively, I think they're good. I don't think they're an elite defense. I don't think there's a guy that you have to account for in the pre-snap read. There's going to be some teams in this league. You're like, hey, wherever this guy goes, we got to make sure that we shift our protections. I don't know if you have that type of difference maker on the Arizona State defense, but they're good. They're well coached. They will rally to football. But, the matchup itself is rather interesting. And, of course, with Mississippi State, new stadium enhancements, the LED lights, some sound that's been upgraded, and there's some more fan amenities and concession areas and things like that. So you're kind of like, you're unveiling and some new things at Mississippi State to improve the game day experience. So that's going to bring some people to the ball yard too. I looked a little bit earlier. There's probably a couple thousand tickets left. And today is Thursday. So there'll be some walk-ups. I mean, not like there normally is in the olden days, right? Because now you can just buy online. But It's going to be a near capacity crowd. Should be a good night Starkville, and hopefully the Bulldogs can find a way to win a football game.
So, Steve, when you look at this matchup, where do you feel like Mississippi State could take advantage of Arizona State?
Well, it's interesting. Arizona State's got some guys banged up on the offensive and defensive lines. And I don't know that you're going to beat them to the corner very often. I mean, there'll be some things you can run, some counters and things like that. I actually think State can run right at them. I think you ought to be able to make some, maybe not huge chunk plays, but I think you can move the chains with Booth and Bothwell. They've got a couple of defensive tackles that have been kind of up and down health-wise. And so I think you've got an opportunity there. I do think State matches up in the secondary against this offense better than people anticipate. Outside of Jordan Tyson, there hasn't been over the course of the last 2 years a ton of production. I mean, last year he had 1,101 yards receiving on 75 catches and had 10 touchdowns. We picked up right where he left off last year. 12 catches for 141 yards and a couple touchdowns last week. So you got to shade some coverage that way. I think you got to make somebody else beat you. And I think that when you think about the environment and you think about what's at stake, that's probably the best way to go. Our best players have to play better, but you've got to make somebody else at Arizona State beat you. And so I do think State will have some success against that passing game. The running game concerns me a little bit because of the quarterback run element.
All right, so we'll talk about it right there. Where do you feel like that Mississippi State should be concerned that Arizona State can take advantage of them?
Well, you've had a lot of new faces on the offensive line, if you're State. And so your pass protection's got to be a big thing. And they had some pre-snap penalties and a couple holds, but so did Arizona State. It's interesting. You look at those games last week that State and Southern Miss had, and Arizona State, Northern Arizona, they were almost identical. You get out to a good start, and next thing you know, things kind of bog down, and then you begin to exert yourself in the third quarter. And maybe it wasn't as impressive a margin of victory as some of your fans wanted, but you got the win playing rather vanilla. But there were a lot of holding calls and pre-snap calls and, illegal men downfield. That stuff is going to get cleaned up for both teams. And so you can't count on that. So I think the Bulldogs, number one, got to be a little bit concerned about the pass rush from Arizona State. Not that they're especially exotic, but they'll have some opponent-specific blitzes. And they got to Blake last year 4 times. And so they're going to feel confident. I think this offensive line to a man is more athletic than what you had last year. But in week 2, are they a cohesive unit, prepared to deal with a Power 4 opponent? I think that's the real question mark.
So, Steve, how do you see it playing out? Mississippi State, Arizona State, Saturday night there at Davis Wade Stadium with the cowbells going nuts.
I think I'm actually I'm going to pick Arizona State to cover. And by the time the game kicks off, I'll have convinced myself State's going to win. I actually think if State wins this game, it'll be a close one. I think it may boil down to a field goal. And I've said all week, I think these two teams are a lot more evenly matched than they were last year.
Right.
And that game was a touchdown game. And I think the special teams aspect favors Mississippi State when you got a weapon like Kyle Ferry. And so I won't be the least bit surprised if Arizona State covers and State wins. The spread's about right at a touchdown, like 6.5 points. But I could see State having a late field goal to pull this thing off. So I do think it'll be a close game. I think in order for it to be a State win, it's probably got to be a close game. I don't think State can win like a shootout with them. Right. But yeah, if Arizona State gets some separation, is able to get their running game going, I mean, I could see it be a game that they win by a couple scores. But we're about to find out, if Mississippi State has improved to the point that we hope they have. We know that they're an improved team, but this is the first true test of the season this year.
So, Steve, to wrap this up, man, I do have one final question for you. Alabama, give us quickly your thoughts on the Alabama Crimson Tide and Kalen DeBoer and the situation over here in Tuscaloosa.
Well, I think everybody needs to take a deep breath. Okay, first of all, this Alabama team's incredibly talented. I was very surprised to see Florida State kind of out physical Alabama in that third quarter. I mean, Ty Simpson was running for his life. I never expected that. But if my memory serves me correct, Alabama's 5-5 in their last 10.
Yeah.
And that just won't float in Tuscaloosa. I mean, that just, they will hold you accountable in Alabama. I mean, you can run, but you sure can't hide, Yeah. I thought it was a questionable hire in the first place, but I think people need to be patient. But patience comes in short supply when you're used to winning at the clip that Alabama is.
Yes.
I think they've got to go on a run here. That you've got to erase that embarrassment of week one. Just like I said about the Mississippi State-Arizona State game, you can only learn so much about your team in week one.
Yeah.
So I think what you do now is just have some faith in your staff and faith in your roster to turn this thing around. And that sounds so crazy when they're 0-1, but Alabama folks aren't used to losing games like that.
Yes.
And so, we'll see what happens as we move forward. But I think everybody just needs to let the season play out, and we'll make some decisions at the end of it all.
So, Steve, look, man, thank you as always for taking time to join us. Enjoy covering Mississippi State and Arizona State, and I will leave you with this. Hail State, let's go.
Hail State, brother. See you then.
All right, thank you. So that is going to wrap up the Mississippi State side of this matchup. When we come back, we are going to be joined by a beat writer from Arizona State to do a deep dive into the Sun Devils and how they're going to do in this matchup with Mississippi State. That's on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Stingray Show. Be back in a flash.
Your flagship home of Alabama sports. We are a championship school, and school is in session.
Makes the catch, makes them bang into each other, stays on his feet, breaks the tackle, scores!
Join us Saturday as the Crimson Tide welcome the ULM Warhawks to Tuscaloosa. Our coverage begins at 3:30 on your home for Alabama football. The Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Presented by Pearl River Resort in Choctaw, Mississippi. Online at pearlriverresort.com. And Tuscaloosa Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Online at TuscaloosaCDJR.com. And by DCH Regional Medical Center. Online at DCHsystem.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Ferguson of South's Finest Meats, the official sponsor of the Stingray Show, has a message for you.
Everything we do here is fresh and custom made, custom to order. I tell people when they come in, if you don't see what you like, ask somebody. We've got the capability to process it, make it. If you want a different blend of hamburger meat, we'll do your brisket blend. We'll do your chuck blend. We'll do your sirloin blend. We do all that right here. We are a butcher shop. It's what we do. So please don't be afraid to ask if you don't see what you like. We can make you any size patty you want. We can make you any amount you want. People call me and say, well, how many patties come in the box? Well, ma'am, how many would you like in a box? You want 12, we'll put 12. You want 25, we'll put 25.
That's just one of the many things that South's Finest Meats has to offer, the official butcher shop of the Stingray Show. With all of the recent tornado damage and storm activity here in West Alabama, Alpha Insurance and hometown agent Jeff Nee can help you personalize your insurance needs. Remember, the more you protect, the more you save. With a helpful customer service team here to serve you in Alabama and over in Mississippi, you can count on Alpha to provide an insurance plan that provides the protection you need, the convenience you expect, and the service that you deserve. For all your auto, home, life, and business insurance needs, call Alpha Agent Jeff Nee at 205-758-2577. Once again, 758-2577, or drop by their office on McFarland Boulevard East, Suite 101 in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And remember, Alpha Agent Jeff Nee, the more you protect, the more you save.
Coach, the energy out there felt different. What changed for the team today?
It was the new game day scratchers from the California Lottery. Players everything. Those games sent the team's energy through the roof.
Are you saying it was the off-field play that made the difference on the field?
Hey, a little play makes your day, and today, it made the game. That's all for now.
Coach, one more question.
Play the new Los Angeles Chargers, San Francisco 49ers, and Los Angeles Rams Scratchers from the California Lottery. A little play can make your day. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to purchase, play, or claim.
Everything from clothing to household items are getting more expensive each day. The world of fast fashion has complicated clothing production by outsourcing around the world to whoever can sew them the cheapest. And now you, the consumer, are paying the price with rising costs. American Giant is about keeping things simple and close to home. They aren't affected by tariffs because their products never leave the U.S. So when you buy from American Giant, you're taking a stand for hardworking people, local communities, and quality clothes. American Giant directly supports American manufacturers and ensures you aren't footing that tariff bill. Support American-made, tariff-free clothing with American Giant with American Giant. Get 20% off your first order when you use promo code STAPLE20 at American-Giant.com. That's 20% off when you use code STAPLE20 at American-Giant.com.
Hi, I'm Sherry Harris, owner of Life Source Water. As a new grandmother and lifelong Californian, I care about what's in the water my family uses every day. For over 40 years, our whole house water system has protected Bay Area families with filtered water from every tap. Now we are offering a double dip in savings. Free basic installation plus an extra $250 off. That's up to $1,200 in savings. Call our factory at 1-800-WATER-99 or visit lifesourcewater.com. Hurry, offer ends September 30.
Warranty limitations apply.
Never ends. This is your home of Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Hey Tide fans, looking for something wild right here in Tuscaloosa? Bring the kids, bring your friends, and come to Bama Reptiles and Ranch in Northport. Just minutes from campus, they've got Asian water lizards, tortoises, colorful snakes, and for the horse lovers out there, ranch supplies. They are the cleanest and healthiest reptile store in the state. And their feeders? Best you'll find anywhere. If you mention this Stingray sports ad, you will get 10% off of your feeders. Remember, Bama Reptiles and Ranch, where exotic meets extraordinary. Welcome back inside the Stingray Show. We just finished up our segment with Steve Robertson talking about the Mississippi State side of this matchup. And now let's get to the Arizona State side with the Sun Devils as they travel from Tempe, coming all the way to Starkville. And to join us to talk about this game from the Sun Devil side is Kevin Hicks, who is an Arizona State writer for SI.com. Kevin, how are things with you out there in the desert before we get ready for Arizona State, Mississippi State?
Hi, Steven. Just wanted to start off by thanking you for having me on the show today. It's an absolute honor. And from the Sun Devil side of things, I feel like nobody within the program is taking this game for granted. I know the general perception heading into this game is that obviously as the number 12 ranked team in the nation, that there is a considerable gap between the two teams. But I think that they recognize that the potential weather factor, the crowd noise, the SEC speed, even if Mississippi State is being underestimated in the structure of the SEC, you should never underestimate the power of SEC physicality and SEC speed. The coaches talked about all week about how the Bulldogs kind of run a quasi-exotic defense, a lot like NAU did, but the caliber of athlete is night and day compared to what they saw last week. And obviously Blake Shapen has come back. I believe he only played in 4 games last season. And I really think that he's going to be able to show off his accuracy, his quick decision-making, maybe a little bit of mobility. The Sun Devil defense is very strong at all 3 levels. They didn't necessarily show it for a full 60 minutes on Saturday, but I've been seeing it in practice. They're very much SEC speed, SEC strength level, but it's just the consistency, and they're going to be tested by the up-tempo offense the Bulldogs have.
You know, Kevin, one thing that comes to mind is Sam Levitt after practice made his statement that quickly made the bulletin board there in Starkville, talking about Cowboys. He goes, yeah, it's like a high school game. And I was like, wow, you're coming to an SEC venue. You're going to be coming into 100% humidity, a place that you're not familiar with an SEC hostile crowd. And you're going to make that statement. One, I thought it was very bold, and I liked it. But two, I was like, how stupid are you? Where were your teammates and coaches and administrative staff to punch you in the face? It's like, shut up. Don't give them anything. Your thoughts about him making claims about high school going to Starkville this weekend?
Yeah, Sam definitely is the very confident guy. I feel like he bridges the difference between being confident and cocky. He's obviously after the game on last Saturday, he graded himself on a scale of A to F, and he gave himself a C+. So he's his hardest critic. I don't really think he was necessarily trying to slight Mississippi State. I obviously can't read his mind, but I think he was more talking about in some college environments, you don't necessarily get the passion that you do at high school games, just because for whatever reason, like if you go to like a game in like a high school game in Texas, it's completely different from the college environments in so many places. Like the Texas high school game is so much different than going to UConn and playing a college football game. I do think he could have chosen his words better, that's for sure. But I think that nobody within the program is taking the Bulldogs for granted. I think that they realize it's going to be a very physical battle. They're going to be tested conditioning wise, durability wise, and some parts of the team that are kind of unproven right now are going to be tested too, such as the offensive line. They kind of struggled week one.
So, Kevin, if you would recap last year's incredible run that Arizona State went on, and especially that nobody predicted them to go to the Big 12 championship game, win it, and then get into the playoffs.
I've admittedly grown up as a fan of Arizona State. I am an Arizona native, so I've been following them since I was 7 or 8, really since I started getting heavy into watching football. And I went to ASU, so this is my first season officially covering them on the beat. But last season, me and a lot of my friends were discussing the season, what we would see being a successful season, and we were pretty much all in agreement that a 6 or 7 win season, a bowl appearance, growth from Sam Levitt would be what we were looking for. And there was always something in the back of my mind that, wow, maybe this team has something in it that none of us can see right now tangibly. But it really did come out of nowhere, because I feel like everybody felt like the season, aspirations of a special season really died after that Cincinnati loss. Sam Levitt missed that game because he suffered a rib injury the week before against Utah. And Jeff Sims really, really, really struggled in the Cincinnati game. There were probably 4 or 5 drives that got stalled out by missed throws in the flat, by missed throws in the 5 to 10 yard game. And it really was discouraging at that point. But from the UCF game on, they really did look like a top 10 team in the nation. And I don't really think that that's an understatement. They absolutely dominated Kansas State on the road, and that's not an easy place to play. They silenced that crowd from the first 10 minutes of the game on. They dominated BYU for 50 minutes of the game. BYU obviously had the late surge, and they were a talented team last year. They looked like they could be a factor even after losing Jake Retzlaff. Absolutely dominated Iowa State. I was shocked by that result. I thought it was going to be a pick'em game. And the fact that Sam Levitt had a near perfect performance without Jordan Tyson really showed me who he can be as a quarterback. And the CFP game, obviously, you could argue that if the non-targeting call goes differently, if Jordan Tyson is able to play in that game, that the result is different. And we're talking about ASU in the national semifinals, which a year ago this time, nobody would have said that they would have called you crazy for saying that. So I think that the evolution over the last year has been absolutely incredible. And it's really something that's unheard of in the world of college football, especially with the post-Herm Edwards sanctions that the NCAA levied down on them. People were thinking maybe they could be back to relevancy by the end of the decade, but it came in year 2, which is absolutely mind-boggling. I really still can't grasp that rise to relevancy this quickly.
So, Kevin, we're up against our final break of the evening, and when we come back, we are going to dive exclusively into the matchup on Saturday evening in Starkville between the Sun Devils and the Bulldogs. That's on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Stingray Show. We will be right back to finish this up.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Friday edition of The Game, one day closer to ULM, Alabama's home opener inside Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. We'll do an SEC Parlay Pick Contest presented by Brian Harden Construction. We'll talk to Lee Sterling, ParamountSports.com. He'll set the stage for the big weekend. Brent Beard talks with us right here starting at 2 p.m. on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest running sports program in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Has it always been your dream to build the pond of your dreams, but you don't know if property you own or are thinking about buying has a good location to build a pond on? You need to contact Honey Hole Fisheries right here in Tuscaloosa County, because Jeff Bagwell will help you decide if property you own or are thinking about buying has a good location to build a pond. You can contact Honey Hole Fisheries at 205-799-0192. Once again, that is 799-0192. And hey, Jeff Bagwell can also order top quality automatic fish and hunting feeders for all of your outdoor recreation. Contact Jeff Bagwell today, once again at 205-799-0192 to help you build the pond or lake of your dreams. With all of the recent tornado damage and storm activity here in West Alabama, Alpha Insurance and hometown agent Jeff Nee can help you personalize your insurance needs. Remember, the more you protect, the more you save. With a helpful customer service team here to serve you in Alabama and over in Mississippi, you can count on Alpha to provide an insurance plan that provides the protection you need, the convenience you expect, and the service that you deserve. For all your auto, home, life, and business insurance needs, call Alpha agent Jeff Nee at 205-758-2577. Once again, 758-2577, or drop by their office on McFarland Boulevard East, Suite 101 in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And remember, Alpha agent Jeff Nee, the more you protect, the more you save.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, north on Highway 69 from Old Greensboro Road to Skyland Boulevard. It's an 8-minute drive. We have ongoing work on McWright's Ferry Road. It's being extended down to Rice Mine Road. Also watch for construction on Old Birmingham Highway between 55th Avenue and Kennedy Mill Road. And if you're traveling south on Highway 69, watch for a 7-minute drive heading toward McFarland. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Lisa Baque.
Coach, the energy out there felt different. What changed for the team today?
It was the new game day scratchers from the California Lottery. Players everything. Those games sent the team's energy through the roof.
Are you saying it was the off-field play that made the difference on the field?
Hey, a little play makes your day, and today, it made the game. That's all for now.
Coach, one more question.
Play the new Los Angeles Chargers, San Francisco 49ers, and Los Angeles Rams Scratchers from the California Lottery. A little play can make your day. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to purchase, play, or claim.
Support American-made tariff-free clothing with American Giant with American Giant. They aren't affected by tariffs because their clothing products never left the U.S. Get 20% off your first order when you use promo code STAPLE20 at American-Giant.com.
Lowe's knows you've got a job to do, and we help get it done. With the MyLowe's Pro Rewards program, eligible members save more with volume discounts on qualifying orders through a quote of $2,000 or more. Join for free today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Offer can't be combined with any other discount, contract, and/or special pricing. Exclusions, more terms, and restrictions apply. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Your home for Alabama Crimson Tide football. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Hey Tide fans, looking for something wild right here in Tuscaloosa? Bring the kids, bring your friends, and come to Bama Reptiles and Ranch in Northport. Just minutes from campus. They've got Asian water lizards, tortoises, colorful snakes, and for the horse lovers out there, ranch supplies. They are the cleanest and healthiest reptile store in the state. And their feeders? Best you'll find anywhere. If you mention this Stingray sports ad, you will get 10% off of your feeders. Remember, Bama Reptiles and Ranch, where exotic meets extraordinary. Welcome back inside the Stingray Show. We are talking about the Mississippi State and Arizona State game with our guest this evening, Kevin Hicks, who comes to us for covering Arizona State for SI.com. And Kevin, when you look at this matchup on Saturday in Starkville, give us a breakdown of the expectations from the fans as the Sun Devils travel to Starkville.
I think the fan base is very confident that the Sun Devils will come out of Starkville with a win. Just the energy in Tempe is unbelievable right now. I really haven't felt the excitement in the air like that in many, many years, probably since the 2014 season when they peaked at number 6 in the college football playoff rankings in the first year. They really had a real shot to make the playoff that year as well before the loss to Oregon State. I really do think the fan base is buying into what Kenny Dillingham is selling because he just tells it like it is. He's very, very consistent. He's very, very open. There are so many coaches in the world of college football that are so closed. And he really gives the media unlimited access. He really reaches out to and speaks to the fans instead of just talking to them. And I think that the fan base is absolutely head over heels with this team. I think that they really are invested in them and they love every player and every coach on the team. And I think that they're confident that they can run the table.
I know it's last year, and I'm not a betting man. We kind of poke fun at the books and everything, but last year, Arizona State was favored 6.5.
Yeah.
This year, Arizona State favored 6.5. And that kind of caught me off guard a little bit. I was like, wow, they're on the road, and this is not as good Arizona State team as last year, although I still think it's very good and Sam Levitt's still there, but Scatterboo's gone. And anytime you lose somebody like Scatterboo, you are going to take a hit a little bit on offense. It's just a fact. So with that, I was like, well, Mississippi State, 2/3 of the roster is brand spanking new and upgraded. So I was a little bit shocked at that betting line. Your thoughts on Arizona State being the road favorite out of a time zone at an SEC school?
Yeah, I think that the line has a lot to do with the perception that ASU has the coaching advantage still and the Sam Levitt, Jordan Tyson connection. But I'm of the opinion that the roster this year is probably better than last year's. We're going to have to see it in action, obviously, but there are players on ASU's defense from that have tangibly improved during fall camp compared to what we saw last year, such as Justin Watley. His status is up in the air this Saturday, but he lost 15 pounds in the offseason. He looks extremely explosive. He's playing more off the edge instead of on the interior right now. The edge rushing group looks much more in sync as a unit, and all four of the major guys, Elijah O'Neal, Watley, Clayton Smith, and Prince Dorba, all look individually better as well. The secondary looks very, very solid. Obviously, Xavier Alford is one of the best safeties in the country. You have two high-level starting cornerbacks. The nickel back position has been a question. Obviously, Shamari Simmons was a big factor in the Mississippi State game last year, but Montana Warren has stepped up and excelled in that role in my mind. And as for the running back question, there will be an adjustment period moving on from Scadaboo, but I am very high on the running back arrangement as well. Raleek Brown would have had a 75-yard touchdown last week if not for a ill-fated, ill-timed holding penalty. He looked very, very explosive, and he showed off some power that we might not have expected him to on that touchdown run they had, the first touchdown of the season. He kind of looked like Cam Scadaboo running between the tackles. And Kyson Brown, obviously, he's a Mississippi native. He talked about how much the game is going to mean to him going back home. He's going to have 50 or more family members in attendance. He was really explosive on Saturday. I believe he went for 145 total yards between the ground and the air. And Kanye Udo could be a factor as well. He only got 3 touches in the game on Saturday, but he's really that classic downhill runner that could be a better matchup against Mississippi State particularly. But overall, I think that the rosters stack up pretty well together. I think it's going to be a fun battle. I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people anticipate it to be. We'll see what happens once the kickoff comes about.
So, Kevin, how do you see it playing out between number 12 Arizona State and Mississippi State under the lights at Davis-Wade Stadium on Saturday evening?
I've been saying I believe the Sun Devils will win the game by 1 score for quite a while, so I believe I'm going to stick to that. But after seeing the Week 1 game, I'm not as confident as I was before. I still think the Sun Devils are one of the 10 or so most talented rosters in the nation. I don't think Mississippi State's all that far behind. I think a lot of people are underestimating. That's what Coach Dillingham and both coordinators have been saying, that this team is significantly improved. This is not the same team that we saw last season. And I think it's going to be a fun battle. I think it's going to be a battle that comes down to the last 5 or so minutes of the game. And I'm going to go with the Sun Devils 35, Mississippi State 28.
So, Kevin, look, man, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join us. Enjoy covering Arizona State versus Mississippi State, and good luck to you guys throughout the Big 12 season. We will be pulling for Arizona State after this game this weekend, and we would love to catch up with you later on this season to continue to talk about the Arizona State Sun Devils, especially when they make it into the playoffs.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on today, Stephen. It was a pleasure.
All right. Thank you.
Take care, Kevin. Have a great weekend. Kevin knew his stuff, Stephen. He was very detailed.
Heath, Kevin really did know his stuff, so really do want to thank him for joining us, and that is going to wrap up the Arizona State versus Mississippi State preview show with Steve Robertson, and then with Kevin Hicks when we come back on the fun Friday edition of the Stingray Show. And Heath, as you say,
Fried Bologna Friday.
We are going to be doing something new for you guys, as we are going to be joined by a bookie and a sports betting company out in Las Vegas to talk about some of the biggest games for you to bet on the Friday night and then on Saturday in college football with Tim Murray from VSiN out of Las Vegas, which is the Sport Betting Network. So we're going to do that for you guys on the Friday evening edition of the Stingray Show, and we will catch you at 6 p.m. with all of the latest betting information.
Don't be going and spending all your hard-earned money, Stephen, on the bookies now.
Nope, I don't bet at all, but we will learn a lot about the sports betting world tomorrow evening.
Coach, the energy out there felt different. What changed for the team today?
It was the new game day scratchers from the California lottery. Players everything. Those games sent the team's energy through the roof.
Are you saying it was the off-field play that made the difference on the field?
Hey, a little play makes your day, and today, it made the game. That's all for now.
Coach, one more question.
Play the new Los Angeles Chargers, San Francisco 49ers, and Los Angeles Rams Scratchers from the California Lottery. A little play can make your day. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to purchase, play, or claim.
Lowe's knows you've got a job to do, and we help get it done. With the MyLowe's Pro Rewards program, eligible members save more with volume discounts on qualifying orders through a quote of $2,000 or more. Join for free today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Offer can't be combined with any other discount, contract, and/or special pricing. Exclusions, more terms, and restrictions apply. Details at Lowe's.com/terms. Subject to change.